This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast where we take a look at the week that was in Bates athletics. My name is Aaron Morse, and this week we're recapping the IRA National Championships for the men's rowing team. And we're chatting with Director of Athletics, Jason Fein, about his first year on the job. That's coming up on the season finale of the Bates Bobcast. The men's rowing team competed in the 116th annual IRA National Championship Regatta over the weekend. For the first time in program history, Bates got to toe the line with Harvard, Yale, Washington, and the rest of the heavyweights of collegiate rowing. On the first day, the second varsity 8 finished fourth in its heat, defeating Stanford and St. Joseph's University in the process. Senior captain Kyle Schlueter joined the Bobcast after the first day of racing concluded.
We had faced St. Joe's earlier in the year, and we had pulled out ahead of them, being in that lineup really for the first time ever. And then we knew we had gained speed over the course of the year, so it was really nice to see how far ahead we could push them. And we knew Stanford had just beaten Hobart a few weeks before NIRCs, and so that was really our goal, was to get past Stanford. In the last 500, seeing ourselves pretty far ahead of them was a really exhilarating moment for sure.
Quite the wait between races. Is this typical for a regatta you go to during the season?
Yeah, it is, and we would have had a longer period of time, but because of the weather conditions, they condensed the heats and whatnot to become closer. So in rowing, you do a lot of sitting around, and it really sucks when there's heat, but right. It's the mental stamina and the physical stamina, and that's what separates good crews from the best crews. So
what's your approach during that long break in terms of getting prepared for the next race?
It's really about hydration and really staying out of the sun. You don't really realize how much the sun bakes out of you until you get on the race course and you take your first few strokes, but the sun can really, really take it out of you. So it's just a matter of staying out of the sun, drinking a lot of water, and eating the right types of fuel that you need to keep the muscles going.
Obviously, you're racing against, the elite, the best of the best, if you will. What's your impression so far of the competition?
We thought we were fast, but it's really... It's crazy to look over and see our 1V getting beaten by some of these guys, considering, we all year haven't seen them being beaten by anybody. But we knew that coming in, and we know what our place here. We know our competition and how good these guys are, and sort of the recruiting sources and pools that the bigger schools like Washington and UCal really get, and they really can grab some of the bigger guys, really from foreign countries too. So we look over and we see these big 6'8" guys and whatnot, and we just try and do the best with what we have, and we really have done an amazing job of just getting here and seeing what we can do. So it's been a great first day for sure, and we know exactly where we are, and this is kind of where we expected to be, and we haven't really lost anything or gained anything, and that's really the nice part, is we're the underdogs in this, so we kind of have a little bit of control in what we can do and how much we can mess up other people's weekends.
Well, you're a senior in a boat, some younger guys in it, right? So, and you're a captain, so what do you view your role in the boat, kind of?
Well, as a senior, the only senior in the second varsity 8, and having two novice rowers, actually, they just started this year, and they've made extreme strides, and having mostly juniors and a few sophomores, I sit more in a leadership role, or our coach has now called us mentors, which I like a little bit better. You can really bestow some knowledge that you've learned over either 4 years or over your whole rowing career, actually, and give them some tips and focus points on what you need to do and what you need to accomplish and what you need to focus on to really set yourself up for success. And I like that position personally, and being in a stroke seat, everyone kind of looks towards you, not only just because everyone's sitting behind you, but they look to you to set the pace and to make the right calls with the coxswain if need be. And I can tell that all the guys are really in it together, but they all really look up to me, which is a very special position to be in.
It's funny you mentioned that you're a senior. I mentioned that you're a senior, but you're really not a senior. You graduated on Sunday.
Yeah.
Is it weird competing after you've graduated?
It's that, I'm a proud Bates alum, I guess, But it's actually really nice because there's a lot of weight off your shoulders. You don't have to worry about, a bunch of commencement commitments and things like that. You can just focus on your rowing. And we've never been in a situation like this. No Bates boat's ever made it this far on the men's side. So this is really uncharted waters. And having graduation out of the way, having school kind of behind you it's really nice to just go in and gather yourself and just focus on what needs to be done on this weekend. So
excellent. Kyle Schlueter, thanks so much.
Absolutely, thanks, Aaron.
Both Bates crews competed in their respective CD semifinals on Saturday, with the first Varsity 8 finishing ahead of UC San Diego, and the second Varsity 8 outracing St. Joseph's once again, and Florida Tech as well. The second Varsity 8 qualified for Sunday's third-level final, while the first Varsity 8 was set to compete in the fourth-level final. Unfortunately, rough conditions on Mercer Lake caused the cancellation of the remaining races. Senior Josh Bilchik on the anticlimactic finish.
It still feels a little surreal. Obviously, we're really disappointed not to be able to get to race and show our stuff. And, our goal was to win the fourth final, and we were sad. And for the 2V to do as well as they could in the third final, maybe win that too. And so to not be able to show up and do that and prove our speed is a little disappointing. But again, just being here is incredible.
Fellow senior Roddy Pratt sees a learning opportunity for the younger rowers from this year's first ever trip to IRAs.
So what I'm hoping for the guys next year is that this is a reality check for them. I really hope they return, and that through November, through December, through January, they're keeping it in their heads that if they want to be competitive at this regatta, they have to train to do that all year long. That's the only way that'll work.
And head coach Peter Steenstra sums up the season.
Fantastic year. This is the greatest year, spring season for Bates rowing history, and on top of that, a great fall result with the Charles boat, both on the men's and the women's side. So there's no question that 17-18 is a year that's going to go down in history for us.
Bates College achieved the third best finish in school history in the final Learfield Directors Cup Division III standings for 2017-2018, announced Thursday by the National Association of Collegiate Directors of Athletics. Bates finished 32nd out of 451 Division III institutions across the country. The college's three best finishes in the Directors' Cup have come in the last 4 years. It's only appropriate that we conclude this episode of the Bobcast by interviewing Bates College Director of Athletics, Jason Fein. He joined us on the phone as he made his way to the NESCAC meetings and talked about the football coaching search, his first year at the helm, and more.
Your first year as the Director of Athletics here, first of all, just wanted to know your general thoughts on how the year went, maybe what some lessons you learned, your first year with Bates and first year in the NESCAC on top of that.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Aaron. I really appreciate it. And, it's been a really, really great first year. It's been a whirlwind. Time has kind of flown by, and certainly, probably saved the best for last with our rowing championship. Super happy about that and the way that the folks finished up. But, the first year was really about kind of getting to know people, listening around campus, and kind of doing a little bit of a listening tour. And we've made some changes. We, had some longtime staff people, leave us this year, as you know. So we just completed a couple searches, and we've got a new senior associate AD starting. We've got a new assistant AD who's going to really take our club sports program and facility management, to new levels there. Sports medicine, new director coming in. On that side, and adding a couple new athletic trainers as well, and then just kind of getting policies and procedures done, and lots of things that kind of set us up for the future. So it's been a really good year.
Yeah, you touched on a couple of hires that were recently announced by Bates, including Celine Cunningham, new Senior Associate Director of Athletics and Senior Woman Administrator. Obviously, Sue Harriman filled that role previously before getting an athletic director job in California. So what can you tell us about Celine and what she's going to bring to the table here for Bates?
Yeah, well, she certainly had big shoes to fill, and obviously, losing Sue, and we're happy for her and her new role. And, we were able to get Celine. She came from Stevens down in Hoboken. She's been successful as a coach and as an administrator, and she's going to handle our compliance, handle some sport oversight and kind of day-to-day operations as we kind of divide and conquer in this new phase that we're going into. Obviously, we want to try and raise a whole bunch of money so we can hopefully build a new facility here. And being in the capital campaign, part of what we're going to do is be out on the road raising money. So it'll help us, have someone kind of on the home front at times and also on the road at times, and be able to engage with our current coaching staff. And obviously, as a former coach, is going to relate really well to them, and also with alums and parents, I think, as well.
Was that one of the things that appealed to you in the search committee, was the fact that she is a former coach?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that anytime you have somebody who's done the role that the folks that they're going to be working with have done, I think is definitely an advantage. So the fact that she sat in that chair as a head coach and a successful one at that is going to be a great resource for our coaches.
All right, and then Scott Lehman, the other hire recently, Assistant Athletic Director for Facilities and Club Sports. What are some things you're looking for Scott to come in and do right away here?
Yeah, Scott brings us some great experience from his previous role down at Towson, and experience in both the facilities management side as well as with the being on board as a new facilities being opened. And we hope that with our fundraising well underway that we'll be able to utilize him in that role as well. But also with our club sport program, as we look to kind of give them more support and also kind of unify the club sports under one umbrella here at Bates. I think it's going to be important to have somebody that can help oversee that on a day-to-day basis, and Scott has experience in that area as well.
Terrific. And then obviously we've already made some upgrades in facilities in terms of the new court for Alumni Gym. How did that all come about, and how excited are you to see that in action this upcoming winter?
I think we're all super excited about it. We started with Alumni Gym, started by redoing the Thompson room up above where we do functions and meetings and things like that. And then once the season was over, we were able to start on the floor. It was long overdue. I think everybody knew that. We want to give our student athletes the best possible experience that we can, and having better facilities is certainly a piece of that. So time had come for a new floor, new bleachers. We wanted to maintain kind of the aesthetic and the history and the feel of the old Alumni Gym. So the floor is really a throwback and a classy look, and we have brand new wood bleachers coming in that'll also kind of have that historical look to them. So everything is just about done on that respect, and we'll have some camps in there to test it out this summer, as well as the ever popular Bates Dance Festival, and then this fall the students will have a chance to play on it.
Yep, we'll have volleyball playing on it, and then basketball in the winter. And then now the reason why you're on the phone with us right now is you are on the road. You are headed to the NESCAC meetings. What are some of your goals at these meetings? What are you expecting to talk about and everything?
Well, this is kind of our year-end wrap-up, but there's actually a lot of things on the table right now as far as just scheduling with all the teams. The NESCAC has had a kind of a bit of a turnover in presidents and the ADs the last year or two. So we're all still kind of getting to know each other and see what we can all do to help support each other, being as like-minded as we are as institutions. But also, some things from Bates, perspective that we want to kind of try to advocate for when it comes to the rotations of football schedules, or how things work with a softball schedule. Because of our NESCAC rules, there's we have different break periods than the other schools, but we have certain rules that kind of bind us together that maybe put us at a little bit of a disadvantage. So there's a lot, it's kind of like voting that goes on, and then also some professional development things. So we'll be up there for a couple of days, and I think this year has been a lot about not only learning Bates, but learning the ropes of the NESCAC, and looking forward to continue to do that so that we can kind of put Bates in the best position to be successful in the conference going forward.
Excellent. And even though the sports have all wrapped up with both rowing teams completing their seasons, obviously on a high note, certainly in terms of what they've done, it's still a very busy time, because I know the search is on for a new head football coach here at Bates. Bates has not conducted a search for a head football coach for 20 years. And so, when you're doing this search, what are some main things you're looking at least from your perspective?
It's been a long time, and obviously trying to replace Coach Harriman is not an easy task, but we are well underway with that. I think obviously getting someone who understands what it means to coach in the NESCAC and understand what it means to be at a school with high, academically achieving student athletes, as well as, folks that have other pursuits outside of athletics and academics, is important, the well-rounded student athlete that we look to educate. But I think also just someone who understands team culture and being part of a team with with 30 other coaches that are here and their programs, and wanting to integrate football the way Coach Harriman did into the fabric of the campus and the fabric of the Lewis and Auburn community, and have good citizens that represent Bates well on the field. And I think if we do that, we're going to try and push some support to the program as best we can, and hopefully, we'd love to continue our success in the CBB, but we certainly want to also look for success in the greater conference as well. So, it's underway right now, and we're hoping to have somebody sooner rather than later here so that our students can look forward to the fall.
I'm curious, I believe this is your first coaching search in terms of a football coach in your career, right? How's it going so far? What are you learning from it?
Yeah, it is. And, if you would have asked me would I want that to be my first one, I probably would have said no. I said maybe we'd have a couple of years before we did it. But be that as it may, you never know what's going to come at you in this profession. And it's been very interesting. The things that I think that I've learned, number one, is that the coaching world, especially in football, even more so than some other sports, is a really, really small, tight-knit community. Obviously confidentiality is important when you're trying to do any search, but so keeping that primary as a focus is important. So it's definitely a small world. They all seem to know each other. It's a really close-knit group, but as far as, and also just the interest in being at a place like Bates, I was amazed that within a week, we had many, many, many applicants. I won't even mention the exact number, but close to 100 applicants, I'd say, within a week of posting the position. So, it's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun learning, about the folks that are involved and how important it is that they want to be at Bates. So I think that says a lot about our program and about our institution.
And then obviously this year, another strong finish for Bates in the Directors' Cup, 32nd, one of the better finishes in Bates history, third best actually. In terms of your thoughts on this season as a whole, seeing all our sports, what were some impressions you got, and what are you looking forward to most for next year?
First of all, I think the thing that sticks with me is how hard our coaches and our student athletes work day in and day out, and how much actually it takes and what goes into finishing, in that top 50, let's say, in the Directors' Cup. And obviously last year we were at 20, so anytime you're not, going up, you're going down. But 32 is still something to be very, very proud of, I think. And I think there were some opportunities that if you ask the coaches and the student athletes that we probably left on the table a little bit this year. So I think that the sky's the limit going forward next year. I know we've had a really, really good recruiting year across the board. I think that the coaches are excited about the incoming first years in this large class that's coming in. And, I think that when you're up there kind of at the top, and I would certainly say that top 50 or 100 is the top, that people are kind of gunning for you. So the pressure is on to keep the, pedal to the metal, so to speak. But it's something, that, I'm super proud of, and being a new person here. I know that folks who have been around the program a lot longer, who have had a lot to do with it should certainly be proud of it. And I think that next year is going to be even better.
Looking forward to next year, what are some more priorities that you have in your mind going into year two about what you want to see and what else you're going to be evaluating here moving forward for the athletic department?
Yeah, I think that, first of all, in year two, I'm going to definitely be able to delve a little more into the day-to-day operations of each sport. We were on the road a lot. We were doing a lot of meetings trying to get, just basics in place on our policies and procedures and our team in place as far as administrative staff. So, really looking forward to being more involved in the day-to-day, practice and contests of the teams. And I think fundraising is going to be key as we try to look towards building a new facility and keeping up with some of our competitors as far as being able to offer, the best to our student athletes. Big focus on fitness, on sports medicine, on locker space and things like that our student athletes, certainly deserve the best in. So that will be a big focus in year two, working with our advancement team to make sure that we are fundraising and staying on track with the planning for some new facilities. And then the other piece is really just getting our new staff kind of in place and getting our compliance operation, our club sports operation, our facilities operation kind of up and running in the way we want it to with our new staff. So I'm going to try and be as much of a support to them as I can. And then, there's always one thing about this business is there's no typical day. So just when you make a plan, the plan changes. So the key is to try and be in the best position. So when that happens, you're ready to call an audible, so to speak.
Excellent. Well, any other thoughts on this year and that you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, it's been a terrific year. I mean, the community has welcomed me with open arms. It actually has flown by incredibly fast, even though, at times it seemed like it was dragging on when you're in the throes of it, but especially in that cold winter. But sure enough, people said spring would come to Maine, and they were not lying. It's beautiful now. We're excited about it, and no, it's really been an honor for me to be here this year, and the way folks have welcomed me has been terrific, and I'm just looking forward to the future. I feel like the best is yet to come.
The Bobcast is off until the fall sports season gets underway in September. But stick with GoBatesBobcats.com for updates on Bates athletics over the summer. Thanks for listening all year to the Bates Bobcast.